Prime Minister Mateusz Morawiecki gave an interview for the British weekly The Spectator, in which he spoke about the war in Ukraine. The Prime Minister recalled that the West was largely to blame for the present tragic situation, having for years disregarded Moscow's imperial plans. Europe is in the situation it is in today, not because it was insufficiently integrated, but because it did not want to listen to the truth. This voice has been flowing from Poland for many years. Poland does not have a monopoly on the truth, but in matters of relations with Russia, we are, to put it bluntly, much more experienced than others. It has been 14 years since Russia's attack on Georgia. It was then that the late President Lech Kaczyński organized an expedition to Tbilisi of the presidents of Central and Eastern Europe to save Georgia's independence. In retrospect, the words of the Polish president turned out to be prophetic. Today, Georgia, tomorrow, Ukraine, the day after tomorrow, the Baltic states, and later perhaps time will come for my country, Poland. Vladimir Putin has made Western politicians dependent on him for years. One of his close associates is the former German Chancellor, Gerhard Schröder, who after the end of his political career held a sinecure in Russian gas companies. Despite the war in Ukraine, the politician continues to do business in Moscow. The German Social Democrats, who currently co-govern the country, see no problem in this. He was literally corrupted in broad daylight by Moscow, by the Kremlin, and was involved in many very dirty operations, sourcing especially social democratic conduits in Europe for Putin's various plans, but also for money laundering on a massive scale. And everybody knew. After Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014, the European Union imposed sanctions on Moscow, but the wealthy states of the EU continued to trade arms with Moscow. Germany, France, Italy, Spain. These agreements continued. This was not included in the sanctions. Poland was the largest country in the European Union that did not sell arms to Russia after 2014. This is something to be aware of. Since Vladimir Putin took over, Russia attacked Chechnya and Georgia, annexed Crimea, and as a result sparked a war with Ukraine. The West had many years to react appropriately, but it ended up with statements and empty gestures. Instead of sanctions, cooperation was strengthened in some sectors. The most striking example is the Nord Stream gas pipeline. The key position was that of Germany, which hoped to play the most important role as far as the European continent was concerned, based on precisely this type of dependency within such a community. Since the beginning of the war, Poland has accepted over 5 million refugees from Ukraine. After Washington, Warsaw is the largest supplier of armaments to Kiev. Despite this, the European Commission still does not pay Poland the money due from the National Reconstruction Plan and tries to exert more and more influence on Polish internal policy.